Hi there, and a very warm welcome to Frugalful. My name's Lara. This is a frugal living and budgeting channel. Welcome. So the video today is part one of a two-part Halloween special. This part today is the main cooking video, and I thought I would share with you as I use up some leftovers in the kitchen, especially fresh, frozen and fridge ingredients, and also those dreaded pulses that I haven't had a chance to use, and some of them have sat for a long time, and I really didn't want them to go to waste. And at this time of year, curries are such a lovely hearty thing to have. So pardon me, I decided that I would use up the pumpkin as given at the allotment, along with lots and lots of carrots and 3 different kinds of pulses. So there's yellow split peas, there's a broth mix. Now in Scotland we use broth mix. I'm getting awful tongue-tied. We use broth mix to make soup, for example Scotch broth. And third, there's Carlin peas. I'm pretty sure they're called Carlin peas. So these are a new thing to me, and I thought a dal sounded like a good way to use these because you get lentil and chickpea dals, so why not use these pulses and do a wee bit of an experiment. So I've also got tinned tomato and garlic and different spices and herbs that are going to go in. Also going to use up some coconut milk from the freezer. And is that everything? I think that's everything. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this round, get into the kitchen, show you the festive Halloween, like Halloween season festive, not Christmas festive. I'm not quite that organised, but show you the Halloweeny spooktacular cooking session, and then we will have a taste test at the very end, and you can find out with me whether it was frightful and a trick or an absolute treat. This is the first time I've ever made a dal using these ingredients. Normally I use lentils. I have used just split peas before, or just lentils, but this time I've got the Carlin peas, some broth mix and some yellow split peas. So this is a bit of an experiment. I really hope it works. I don't see why it wouldn't, because they're all similar type of thing, the pulses. I'm going to just soak this in water for about 8 hours, and then it'll be ready to boil for the next stage of the process to make the dal. So I've given these 24 hours to soak. They've had a good long soak because I know it's much easier on my digestion that way. So I'm going to strain them, re-rinse them, and then I'm going to put them in, I'm going to put them in my saucepan with a bit of salt, and I'm going to boil them for about 40 to 50 minutes. And while I do that, I am going to peel and chop the carrots prepared to boil them. Also, the same with this lovely pumpkin here. I'll cut the top off, I'll scoop out the insides and chop them and boil them, and then I can actually make a Halloween pumpkin as well while I'm at it, so that'll be good fun. So I'm gonna get chopping and see you soon. wow, look at all this carrot. So much. I'm going to put some in the freezer because it will be really good for bulking out my veggie mince. I'm going to use some as part of this meal, and I'm going to freeze some so that I can boil it for using with the fish cakes. Some of it I'm going to boil along with the pumpkin to have in little pieces boiled as part of this delicious dal. And here we have the lentils, which are now, or not lentils, I should say, split peas. These beans that I keep forgetting the name of, Carlin peas I think they're called, and the broth mix. So I've just finished boiling that. I'm going to go and prepare the pumpkin now. See you soon. Oh, that's a shame. My video cut out before I got to show you, but I've finished emptying out the insides of the pumpkin. And what I will do, I'll put that one in too. I will be toasting, I'll be seasoning with some curry powder and stuff and toasting these pumpkin seeds to make a very delicious snack in the air fryer. I'll show you that a bit later on. And then I'm gonna now hollow out this pumpkin, chop up the bits and add it to the delicious carrot that I've got boiling just here. So it's coming along very nicely. Here's all the pulses with the carrot mixed up. It's looking very yummy. And the pumpkin's underway, so I'll be mixing that in just to give it that bit of a Halloween twist. And then I'll mix in a bit later on the toasted pumpkin seeds, and we'll mix in that coconut milk as well. I've got my pumpkin here nearly ready. It's looking spooktacular, and I completely forgot to take the garlic out of the freezer, and it would definitely be frightful if there was no garlic, so I've just put it on the top for the last couple of minutes to cook that a bit. I'm also going to add, in the way of spices or seasonings, some black pepper. I did put some salt in with the pulses when they were cooking, so there's already salt content. I'm going to use up some, because this isn't maybe conventional how to do a dal, but I'm using up leftovers this month. So I want to use up some of the basil, a bit of the cinnamon. I'll put in a few garlic granules as well, just for good measure. And then I was deciding between using up some of the curry powder or some of this tandoori powder, and I'm going to go with this tandoori curry powder because it has lots of lovely spices in here. A really nice mixture. I think those flavours will be very good in a creamy dal. So let's see, getting tongue-tied. Let's see how it looks once it's all mixed in. So I added also a tin of tomatoes, and I've got it in my, I've got it in the base of my air fryer because A, it's nice and big, the biggest thing I've got really, and B, it's like a cauldron. And I thought that would be quite handy for mixing these many ingredients. So the tin tomatoes are in. It's still a little runny, but it's still steaming. So what I'm planning to do now is just mix in a little couscous and let that thicken as I stir it. And then I'm going to check the scent and see if I want to add anything else to taste. I don't want to taste it itself yet because I want to wait for you and do that as part of the taste test. But it's nearly there, so I'm going to finish off preparing this and I'll be back very soon. I had a bit of a change of plan because I felt that the couscous looked a bit undercooked after all. So I decided to try something, since it's in the tray of this already that I'm using as a big bowl, because it's huge volume and it makes things so much easier. I decided to just stick the whole thing inside the slow cooker, and look at that. Wow, looks amazing, smells amazing. I'm gonna serve it up now and I'll be back very soon. Hi there, so it's ready and I am so hungry and so ready for this. But I did have a bit of salad and stuff while I was waiting, but I'm definitely very ready. So I'm very happy with how this dal has turned out. I haven't tasted it, but it smelled absolutely amazing as it was cooling a bit. It's made a really generous amount. It's all bulked out with the couscous. So I've got loads in my saucepan, and for the taste test and a couple of dinners worth. How's this for a Halloween themed presentation? And I thought I would save doing the pumpkin carving until our next Halloween video. And then that way I can use it as a serving dish. Ta-da! Look at that. I'm so looking forward to trying this. Let's give this a whirl. Oh. Let's give this a whirl. Can't wait. So, it's been such an experiment. I have made dal before, see previous video, but this was a complete experiment where I've literally just thrown everything together. I haven't really given it a great deal of planning. I've just wanted to use up leftovers and I've just chucked stuff in to see what happens. So let's give it a taste. It's most definitely a thumbs up from me. I love it. It's very, very textured with all these different pulses. But the coconut milk and the pumpkin and the tomato base as well makes it all creamy. All right, that's me back. Yeah, it's got a lovely creaminess. I think the pumpkin and the coconut milk makes it so lovely and creamy, but it's got all these tasty vegetables through it as well, and a little bit of a crunch because I didn't want to cook the onions, or they've partially cooked as it's been cooling, but there's more nutrition having the red onions uncooked. And it's very flavoursome, lots of lovely spices. And there's the grains of the couscous. For me, it's a good way to use up couscous because I'm not a huge fan of the stuff. It's a good way for me to use up these pulses that have sat and I've forgotten about them for so long. And I just wanted to find a way that was tasty to use up all these things. And I feel I've accomplished that. So I'm going to have a bit more. I really like that. Definitely a thumbs up from me. I definitely recommend curries in general as a great way to use up leftover veggies and things. But doing a dal style curry to use up leftover pulses, even if it's not necessarily lentils or chickpeas, I think it's worked out pretty well. And I'm very pleased with it. So the next couple of meals, I'm going to eat out of this pumpkin and then I'll be able to wash out the pumpkin in time for our next Halloween installment. I'll see you again very soon on the channel for part 2 of Frugalful Halloween special for 2025. And I look forward to seeing you then. Take care and best wishes. I'll rest my hand because this pumpkin bowl is very, very heavy. See you again soon. Bye for now.